So how do you get statements that you said during a Miranda interview suppressed or waived or dismissed or however you want to say it, you get rid of them? And first of all, before I even go down this road, I just want to say don't waive your Miranda rights. If you're a suspect, you don't want to waive your Miranda rights. If you're a witness, you don't want to waive your Miranda rights. If you're innocent of the crime, you don't want to waive your Miranda rights. If you're guilty of the crime, you don't want to waive your Miranda rights. You're putting yourself in a very precarious position. You're opening yourself up to be convicted for even crimes that you didn't do. And there's an entire organization that's devoted to trying to help out people in that situation, the Innocence Project. And you don't want to be in that position and then being at the mercy of our criminal justice system. So just out front, don't do that. But if you're in a situation where you already have waived your Miranda rights, how do you go about relieving yourself from things that you said during that interview? And there are three basic ways. And these are things that you won't be able to control afterwards. It's just you might be able to argue one of these things if you were in that situation at the time. And number one is intelligence. Number two is age. And number three is intoxication. Number one, intelligence. So if you have an extremely low IQ, or if you have some type of disease or some mental deficiency, you could maybe argue intelligence. And even if you're in the situation where you didn't graduate from high school, you don't have much formal learning, you could possibly argue the intelligence thing and saying that your Miranda rights were not waived knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently. And those three words are key because that is what it takes to waive a Miranda statement is you have to do it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently. And that's what court cases have said consistently down the line, both at the United States Supreme Court level and at the Minnesota State Supreme Court level, is that it has to be knowing, voluntary, and intelligent. And if you have very low IQ or whatever intelligence reason you have, you've got that argument to make. So there's excuse me. So there's intelligence. Number two, there's age. If you're very young, you have the possibility to argue that your Miranda statement wasn't waived knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently. And this, for the most part, it's only open to people who are under 18. Maybe if you're 19, 20, you could argue that also. And it's actually difficult, even in the 17 to 18 range, to say that you did it knowing, voluntarily, and intelligently. But you have that open to you. It's more when you're talking about a 13-year-old kid being asked by police to waive his Miranda statement, then you're in a very prime spot to say this. He didn't have the possibility to do it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently to waive his Miranda statement. Then you've got that argument. So then the third way, and this surprises some people that this is an option, but it is very much an option, is intoxication. If you are very intoxicated, you've got the possibility to say you didn't have the possibility to knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waive your Miranda rights. And there's one court case in the state of Minnesota, State v. Jankford, where this guy had a 0.17 blood alcohol level. And in this case, they actually did allow his Miranda statement in, but they call it a close call, and that's very important. And what's also very important is the reasoning that they used in saying, hey, it's a close call, but then they looked at how clear he was in his speaking, that he seemed clear of mind, that he was articulating himself, and he didn't seem to be drunk. Didn't seem to be that drunk, at least I should say. So they allowed his statements in. Does that mean that if you're 0.17, you can't argue? No. You could be even lower than that. You could be in the 0.13, 0.15, and you've got the argument you could make that you didn't waive your Miranda rights knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently if you're able to bring up indicia of intoxication that are additional, if you are slurring your speech, if you're stumbling around, if there's other things that are saying that, hey, this person is really drunk, he's not in his right mind, then you've got the possibility to argue that your waiver of the Miranda statements was not good and everything that happened in that Miranda statement should be suppressed. And it's not necessarily going to be an easy argument, but you've got that at your disposal if you want to use that and if you unfortunately waived your Miranda rights. So I just want to reiterate one more time before I head out of here is that don't waive your Miranda rights, first off. But number two, if you happen to have waived your Miranda rights, is that you have the opportunity based on intelligence, age, or intoxication to say that the waiver of the Miranda rights was not good and that the evidence should be suppressed. So I want to encourage you to learn your rights, to know your rights, and to assert your rights. Thank you.